Hey gang, it's George Cohn from the Lest We Forget World War II Museum in Lewisville, Texas. I'm here to tell you a little story about how this museum got started and my love for my father, who was in the Texas 36th Infantry Division. My father was the first draft pick out of Fort Worth in 1940. He was placed in the Texas 36th Infantry Division and trained down in Camp Bowie in Brownwood, Texas. He was involved in the Louisiana maneuvers, and he went with them when they went east to Florida and had the landing maneuvers, and then they went up the East Coast. I think they were in the Carolinas. So my father ended up in the 36th Division, which was the first American division to crack Hitler's fortress Europe 9 months before Normandy. Now, Sicily had fallen, but that's an island. So the Texas 36th Infantry Division came out of North Africa and invaded Salerno in September 9 of 1943. My dad went in with the 143rd Infantry Regiment. They were the second wave. He said that he went in at sunup. He said when his landing craft hit, that when he got out, the water was about waist deep and the sun was just coming up. I think it was a pretty tough time on the beach. Every year on September 9, regardless of where I was in the world, I would call my father and ask him, "What were you doing today, Dad, in 1943? And his pat answer was, "I was running scared and looking for a hole." He was a tech sergeant, 3 up and 2 down, when he hit the beach at Salerno. But this is what he looked like before they sent him to Africa. They called him Happy Jack. He was 6'4" and 240. And then this is my dad after 9 months of combat, about a year and a half after the previous picture. You can see how the war's aged him. So this is in a rest area in Italy right after the Rapido River fiasco, where the Texans were slaughtered trying to cross the Rapido River. And this is, okay, so my dad, after combat, he was with them at Salerno, at Vinifro, he was at Monte Cassino, Anzio, Velletri, and when they were entering Rome, the Texas 36th Division is the first army to conquer Rome from the south in history, I believe. Well, the 36th Division, as they were entering Rome, my dad was being rotated home on the point system. They were sending him home for OCS. So he told me when he crossed a sunken submarine in the Bay of Naples, and he said they were on a dock somewhere fixing to get on the ship, and an officer came out and told him, "No souvenirs. You can't have any souvenirs. If we catch you with any, we're going to send you back to the front." He said, my dad said everybody just stood there and looked around. He said, then they started patting guys down. And a guy at the front of the line, they pulled a German bayonet out of his boot. And he said, they marched that guy the other way and sent him back towards shore. My dad said, everybody started opening up their jackets and their sea bags and pulling the souvenirs out and throwing them. He said this big pile of souvenirs appeared because he goes, I wasn't going back to the front. As he told me, he had a nickel-plated, an Italian Beretta that he had traded a paratrooper a pack of cigarettes for. No, a carton of cigarettes. So my dad came home and he was a DI. He was a drill instructor. I have his whistle. My brother recently gave that to me, my older brother. He was a DI, and then he went through OCS, and he became a second lieutenant. So he's an officer with the Legion of Merit and the Good Conduct. He was awarded the Legion of Merit in Italy, and he never told me why. That medal was the only thing that he kept from the war. He kept it in his sock drawer. As a kid, I used to open up that drawer and look at it and play with it. And I asked him 1,000 times, Dad, what'd you do to get this medal? And his answer every time was, son, I had the cleanest boots in my outfit. Well, he took that secret to the grave with him, but after he died, I found a Fort Worth Star-Telegram clipping in Aunt Ida's house, and it said that my dad was awarded that medal, the Legion of Merit, for tenacity of purpose under adverse conditions. And I know that Fred L. Walker, the divisional general, awarded that to him in the field because my dad was very proud that Walker pinned that on him. He always told me that. The general pinned that on me in the field. So after OCS, my dad told me he was on the train going to the West Coast, getting ready for the Japanese invasion. when they got news about an A-bomb, or he said a bomb had been dropped that was going to end the war. He says, we didn't understand that because we had dropped 1 million bombs. How was a bomb going to end the war? And he didn't understand a bomb, atomic bomb. He said, we didn't care. We just wanted to go home. He said, I'd already been through Salerno and Anzio. You know, what's the chances I'll make another invasion? So my dad was then sent back to the East Coast. He was discharged in November of 45. And this is what he would have looked like when he was discharged as a second lieutenant in the quartermasters at that point. So this uniform, none of this belonged to my father, but all of this here is to honor him. I put that together as accurately as I could. And these medals are per his DD-214. So again, the only thing that I have from my dad from the war is his Legion of Merit, which he kept in his sock drawer. God bless Jack Cone, and may he rest in peace. He had 7 children who were all successful and they're healthy and happy. He had a wonderful wife, my mother, who they were in love, deeply in love. I never saw them argue. I had exemplary parents. I'm fortunate enough to be raised by one of those of the greatest generation. Signing off, sayonara, George Cone.